This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Leisa Coffman. Is that how I say your name? Is it Lisa?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
And you're a multifaceted creative professional. You know for your work as a writer, director, filmmaker, and singer songwriter. So I love to talk to people who are creative. That's been the whole focus of this show. Is I talk to creative people in the same spaces that you've been in. So I want to welcome you to the Phantom Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing tonight?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, we want to let people know there's a QR code up there, and that QR code is for Podmatch. We connected on Podmatch. That's how I book guests on the show. If people are interested in podcasting, want to be guests, or they're a host of a podcast and are looking for a guest, just take your phone and do a QR code on that, and you'll find out about it. That's how we do that. We just promote that because we're part of that network. But I want to let everybody know that. This is a live podcast, so this is a live interview. So we're gonna talk to you about what motivates you and why do you do what you do.
Okay.
So where do you want to start with that?
Well, I can. Why I do what I do. I have always loved film and writing and singing, and I grew up in a musically inclined family, and writing is just something that I started doing really young, and writing songs as well, and writing stories and poems, and then I started. There you are. I wasn't seeing you before. Then, um, being around a musically inclined family, um, I would sing solos. My mom and two sisters sung in a gospel group, and sometimes I'd go along and do solos. But um, then as I got older, always continued in my writing just as a hobby,
Hmm.
and continued singing and writing and songs, and then as the computers and internet started growing, I kind of just evolved with that, and would get equipment, and then I fell into starting to work in someone that wrote books, and that's a New York Times bestselling author, and that also has had movie deals with his books, and kind of it was all my forte. So I fell into that in my latter 20s, and then I started really realizing that I had the abilities to do film. It's very natural to me, and
Hmm.
editing and all of it, and um, and what I love most, why I do it's just a natural thing. It's everything reels in my head when I'm writing like a film.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
when I started working in film, it just seemed natural. I felt like I was doing something I've done before, and um, it is truly my passion, and I feel like it's just what I'm supposed to do. A Everything I do, I can put in film. I do my own scoring, I write, I'm a
Yeah, you got the whole
cinematographer.
picture. You're a multifaceted artist, and I think it's interesting because film is writing, but it's like also. I mean, you have to have a story.
Right,
Every artist tells a story in some frame. Like
right.
like if you're a painter, your painting tells a story.
Yeah,
If you're a
it's all
songwriter,
story,
your songwriter tells a story. If you watch a film, it tells a story. Even if it's a silent film, it's telling a story. Every
Yeah,
visual, like the nonverbal things. The thing what I like about film is like you can have non-verbal visual cues that the actors can do things or the director can put change the focus. So
right.
you're looking at something, right? And nobody's even saying anything, but the camera moves and frames something. So then they're like, oh, I should pay attention to that. Or
Right.
there's other little Easter eggs going on, and maybe you
Yeah.
didn't see it, and
Yeah,
you have to go back and watch it again.
it's great.
I love that creativity in that space. I've talked to a lot of film directors,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing what you can do.
It's very faceted. I mean, it
Yeah,
has so many layers. That's why you can watch a movie several times. You're like, oh, I didn't get that the first time, or oh, wait a minute, I missed that. It's amazing the layers that film is. I mean, I always say that there's nothing more, the combination of all of it. I mean, if you watch a film and remove the scoring,
Yeah, then you lose a lot.
oh,
Especially if you think of like a science fiction, like a 2001 or Star Wars, right?
right.
There's a lot of orchestration going on to
Yeah,
have
it's so
impact.
vital.
Yeah, it's super important. And even if
Yeah,
you go back and you watch something like Citizen Kane,
yeah,
and you see Orson Welles was always talking about, like, like he created a bunch of filmic techniques kind
yes,
of by accident because he was interviewed and they asked him, like, well, did you know what you're doing? I said, no. I was like, I didn't know what you couldn't do. There's a famous interview where they asked him, was like, well, how do you come up with the wipe and how do you come up with these techniques that he kind of started? And he said,
yeah.
well, I just thought, well,
It
why
just,
not do that?
it was natural. Yeah, you do. That's what I feel like, that it's just what I'm supposed to do. It's like it was just so natural for me. And when I'm doing it, it's, you kind of get into a zone.
Zone, like a musician. Like in musicians, we get in the zone. So I think there's a parallel there. Like if
Yeah,
when you're a musician and you're writing a song or you're playing a song in front of a crowd, and somebody asks you like, well, you were really you really got it there, and it's like, well, you were kind of in a trance, you're like in the zone.
yeah.
Like, and if you ask a musician, like after they did a solo, like I do a lot of improvisational,
Oh
experimental
yeah, I
jazz
love
type of stuff,
improv. Yeah.
and when you get in that moment, somebody tries to ask you after, like, what happened? I'm like, I was in it.
Using drum. Yeah. Oh yeah, very much. Music, all arts is you're in a zone, and I feel like that you really in a plane where it's a very spiritual experience. I'll even be in the editing after, shooting film and getting in the editing, and sometimes I'll just like be dropping things in to start working, and sometimes just it'll end up being where it needs to be.
Yeah,
And
you
when I'm
kind of
playing
rip.
it, I'm
It's
like,
kind
wait
of
a minute.
like you get a download. Like the Victorians talked about the muse. Like a lot of they talked about the muse, and people
Right.
today they talk about, oh, I got a download from the universe. But
Yeah.
it's just like this stream of consciousness that I've talked to so many different types of artists, and what I see that artists are able to take what's going on in their subconscious,
Uh-huh.
and they're also very observant about what's going on outside them, and it seems
Yeah.
like they can synthesize the inner and the outer.
Yeah.
And then people say, well, how can you do that? Because we're kind of in tune to
Yeah.
this
Yeah. You're
universal
tapping
thing.
into a collective. I think it's very collective. Um, and when I'm writing, I wrote my first novel. I've written since I've been a child, but novels was always very intimidating. And last year I started, finally sit down and mastered it, and now it's just a breeze for me. But one of the things that I started noticing, I just start typing, and I will just start entering characters that I didn't even know are coming out of nowhere. And I'm like, I have no idea why I'm putting this person in. And then later they end up just coming in. And then in the ending, I write like a film. So, like some books that you read, they're this thick and it's got to be sized down for a film. Mine
Yeah,
is almost like a film. It could be literally translated right into film
right
because
into the screenplay. Yeah,
yeah, it's like a screenplay in book form. It's a film in a book, and the way I write, people say that they're like they're
yeah,
just
kind of
crawled
like
in.
you might be storyboarding it out, like in
Yeah.
the way that you talk, the way
Yes.
you put it down. You're kind of storyboarding, giving
Yes.
people these scenes. It's
Yeah.
kind of like when you have a really good songwriter,
Yeah.
right? You think about it like a Dylan. Dylan tells these stories, and you kind of can imagine you're in that story.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
Springsteen.
scoring, I'll even score and write songs for my movies or for anything I'm writing. I will hear a
What you
song,
want.
and then and then I'll write it. So, and most of like the films that I've done, I've
You
especially
scored
written
them.
a song
Yeah, you
for it.
scored them
Yeah,
too.
scored during while I was writing. It's
Well, I think that's a cool that's a cool thing to happen. Um, because I think it's like if you are able to like have a vision and if you, when you're able to be like the writer, the producer, director, when you hold all those hats, then your
Right.
vision is you could need help. Everybody needs a team, but I think sometimes like you have these visionary writer, director, filmmakers, right? They know what they want.
Yes.
They so
Yeah, I do.
they
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I love teamwork. And most of the time, right now, it's me most of the time doing a lot of my stuff. But it is great to get the collective from other experts as well. I've not had much opportunity for that really. And
Mhm.
and I look forward to that. I'm looking forward to that for future projects. But um, yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than being a part of something so creative to where you're telling a story and the way you want to tell it, and knowing that it can make a difference. Most of my stuff, there are some things it's not, um, I do sometimes do a little writing that's maybe, I'm kind of getting into a little bit of action to where it's not as spiritually inclined, but all of my writing in some way will somehow bring it back around to where someone was changed. There was a positive something that someone learned about themselves.
Okay,
It's
so you're
just
telling like
part
a
of
lesson
who I
learned.
am.
It's like a
Yeah,
fate.
I
Yeah,
can't. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm. I've always got to have that layer in there to where it's going to make someone think about their own life, or make a difference in their life, or make them think about something, whatever
well, you
I'm
want to make
writing
that statement. That's the thing
about.
about art. Like you've got a vision. You want to make a statement, and when you really like, sometimes people are looking for other people's stories. It's kind of
Right.
like if you're a musician and you're like you're a studio musician and you don't write your own stuff. You just play like you like like the
Right. Oh yeah, they're like
like the
amazing.
Funk Brothers at Motown. It's like they were great musicians and they wrote a lot. They created stuff, but it wasn't really theirs. I mean, it
No,
wasn't
and there's an
it
art
wasn't
in.
their band. It
I
was like
was There's an art in that even. I mean, I went and recorded in Nashville, and the studio musicians, there was my music. They gave it to them. It was like they had it for 3 or 4 minutes. I
and then they
was
got
in
it.
the other room getting ready to go, and I'm like, they've already.
They got it down. Well, that's because that's who they are. That's their job.
That was just. I mean, it sounded perfect
Yeah.
within like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're very intimidating. Like if when you run into a studio musician, like if you have your own band, right?
Uh-huh.
And you come in, you run into some of these guys who have been playing 20, 30 years, and then you run into them, they're like looking at you. It's like, what are you doing? You get
I
these
met
young,
the actual. I was so impressed because I love the steel guitar, and
yeah,
Buddy Emmons played the steel guitar, which he's like a big deal. He may not even be around anymore, but everybody knew he was like
the guy. Yeah,
the steel guitar player. And so I was just from all these greats,
yeah.
and
It's
this
like
was
when
in
you,
the
yeah,
90s.
yeah. It's just amazing when you run into people and you get like. But I think it's also cool. The one thing I always point out to people, like young people, like singers, emerging singer songwriters, is like you don't have to be perfect, right? Like the whole point is like you're telling a story, and if you're the songwriter, you're telling your own story
Yeah.
versus somebody that would have been, one of these writers like a Neil Diamond or a Carole King gave you the story, right?
Right.
When that's
Right.
the selling point is the fact that you're telling, and you don't have to be perfect.
No,
Your
I
imperfections
have a
actually
very
make the art.
imperfect, you know, I kind of like in my art, not being perfect.
Yeah, the happy
You
accident.
can't. Yeah, I think art is. if there's an imperfection in there, it's supposed to be in there. It's meant to be there, you know. All
Yeah,
the
I think
yeah,
that's the thing I worry about with all this tech today.
yeah,
Like like your painters, like if you're painting on with oil on canvas, it is what it is.
yeah.
But once you go into digital, then
Oh,
you got the
well,
you got the ability to undo. But then you keep on undoing,
hit the
like
back.
where you're on the canvas, you're layering or
Yeah,
you're changing with the color combinations, but you're stuck with what you started.
yeah,
Right. There's some things that you can do, but
yeah.
you kinda gotta stay within that constraint. I think
Right.
constraints actually help the art, but when you
Yes,
get
it
unconstrained,
does.
you don't you have too many choices,
Yes.
then I think you're gonna end up with maybe not anything that's that great.
Yeah, it is good to have the imperfections. And for the festival, um, I'm I'm going to be doing. I had it sitting back here and it got put away. A beautiful sculpture that I'm going to be doing for all the winners, and I'm going to learn to do casting and casting them and molding and casting. And what I like about that is going to be each one's going to be different with its own imperfections for each winner and to me
Right.
you're truly getting a unique award because of that. So I just think that when you're singing live, there's nothing like hearing that person sing live, that it's not going to be the perfect recording that you're hearing on the radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's like
You're
if you're
hearing
running.
a live. Yeah,
Yeah, that's always worry about, like, bands that don't have they just have a DJ, right? And then you have all your backing vocals, and maybe
uh-huh,
you're doing, like, your lead vocal, but you don't actually have background singers,
right.
and it's all background vocal, you're kinda locked into the track because
Uh-huh.
it's not a live band, and I'm like, I'm a child of the '70s, if I wanna see a band, it's like, I don't wanna hear it the way you did it on the record.
No, yeah.
I'm coming to see you
Yeah,
to
we
see
hear
if
that
you
on the
do it
radio.
to see
Yeah,
it to see if you're gonna play it different than what's on the radio.
right. Yeah, you wanna hear a raw version of it.
A raw version of it, like,
Yeah.
you go to see, like, Journey back in the day, you go see some ba but they would improvise a little bit. It wouldn't be exactly the same.
No.
It's actually the live version, and the live version doesn't have to be the radio or the CD or the
Yeah.
album version.
Like you said, you're really looking for it to not be that way. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I mean, we
agree.
go see the Grateful Dead, that was the whole point of the Dead. You go see the Dead, and people would follow them, and they would watch them every night, and every night they were
Did
doing it
you
different.
have you seen I've never seen them
But yeah,
live.
I saw them back in the day. Well,
Did
I saw well,
Yeah, they
not
have
real
it.
back in the
They're
day, but
following
they were
amazing.
always touring, and I saw them like in the '80s.
Yeah,
But
their following was huge.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
people would just follow them kind of like Funkadelic. They were like the funk version of
Yeah.
Grateful Dead. It was the same thing. Like you went to go see Funkadelic,
Oh, I
eh,
love Funkadelic.
they
Yeah,
did the same thing. They would
right.
just jam. It's just jamming all night, or the Allman Brothers. I saw the Allman Brothers multiple times, and
Oh, did you?
yeah, and they were just it's like that's a jam band. That's a
Oh,
jam
yeah.
Southern rock band,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
know. It's great stuff.
And I just like I worry these kids like, "Oh, like, you're too much in the box."
Yeah.
Yeah, like, the hip hop is fine, but, like, if you just or even EDM, is like they have these new forms and
Yeah, I mean,
everything's just in the pop.
I like a lot of that too, but I do like it
Yeah,
very
I like
raw and
live.
natural and
Yeah,
just
I wanna see somebody riff a little bit. Like, even if if you're old hip hop, they're actually using vinyl. And it took some skill to actually do that. Now they're
right.
using these CDJs, and a lot of that is like it's on automatic,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and it's not as skillful as actually having to do it on the vinyl. And so there are
Yes.
some clubs in New York that say like you've got to do it with the old turntables,
Oh,
and so
wow.
they're kind of
Yeah,
trying to force
definitely.
the skill set back because it is a certain skill set. It's not just as simple as people might think. It's like they want to get people to get their chops back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, I always, that's the one thing, and I gotta, I want to do an album. Literally, I want to do an album. I want vinyl.
On
And it's
vinyl,
so
yeah.
expensive
Well, vinyl's coming back. I just released a couple of my own. I'm a musician. I got a couple of records on vinyl. I found a way to
did
do
you
it.
do vinyl? Oh
Yeah,
no, I
I
love
got
it.
2 albums I put out on vinyl
Oh,
as, like,
it's
special things for my fans. Just because I think it's I grew up with vinyl, and I
yes.
always
And
wanted to have something on
the
vinyl, so I did
covers. They're the greatest. I mean, vinyl covers is
it. This looked I mean, it's to me, it's like when you get the CD cover, because I was a kid, looking at the Zeppelin albums
oh yeah.
and,
And they open,
the art of a rock album back in the day, like, open up like Tommy from The Who
yeah,
or, like, any of the big, like,
great.
Pink Floyd albums, like,
Elton John's. I remember
Elton
Yellow Brick
John, Yellow
Road.
Brick Road, you open that up and you're like, "Wow." I mean, it was a whole you
It's
brought it home
amazing.
and
Yeah.
you were like you got into the whole thing because it's like you said, it's multimedia. It's like
Yeah.
it's the art of the album cover, you're reading the lyric sheet and you're listening to it, right?
Yes.
So you're tactile touching that vinyl,
Yeah. It's
you
very much
physically have something. Now
yeah.
these kids today, they don't physically have something unless they want to go back and get into tape and vinyl.
Well, I
I
mean,
think you
now
lose it. Yeah.
that's how we got to see the artist. That's how we didn't have, even MTV yet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I
So, I
mean,
mean, I remember, MTV when it started, and I was like 18 when
mhm.
MTV started, and or that I knew about it. I'm thinking it was about 18 when it started. It was like in the 80s.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I remember I was around. I was like,
and
yeah,
I
I was
remember my first video, and I was heading out to California on Greyhound, and I stopped in to my friend that lives in Indianapolis, and she was like, "Have you seen Michael Jackson's Thriller?" And
on a
I
20-minute
just was,
video.
oh, I mean, that was like epic. I mean,
Yeah, 'cause he decided to actually do something because a lot of videos were kinda just promotions for the band, and they would just go on a sound stage and do kinda something silly, and, then you had, like, Duran Duran, they actually went and did films. Like,
yeah,
they actually
yeah,
went
Michael
and took and
Jackson.
then, I think Michael Jackson saw what Duran Duran had done,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like, he's
Duran
like,
Duran. Yes,
I wanna do something like that."
yeah,
But he did longer forms. They did these films, but they were still only 3 or 4 minutes long because it was long as their song. He went and did something like 15, 18-minute thing,
yeah. He had
you
to
know?
top it.
He had to go push it, but, I think that's why I like the creativity of that time period when people started realizing that you actually could do things
Mhm. That
that you could yeah,
influence, I have that influence in all my art. I feel like, the 70s, very, that influence is with me, in everything I do. There's touches of that
yeah,
in
that possibility.
everything that I do. I think that, I mean, I really feel like that era was it was kind of the end of the last of that kind of creative. I mean, when you
Yeah,
think
I think
about
what was interesting to me about the '70s, like, the late '60s into the '80s was that artists were allowed to create art
it, you're right.
and not widgets. It's like it seems like today people are building like things for like algorithm
Yeah.
widget like likes. People
I just
were
was
allowed.
hearing Matt Damon was talking. Him and Ben Affleck have their newest film out on
Yeah,
Netflix
I just saw
called The
that. Yeah,
Rip,
yeah, I saw
and
that movie.
it's really good. But he was talking about how they had to distribute the action that Netflix said, oh, and from what I've seen, 30% of their viewers are on mobile, but they're like, hey, we need some more action in the beginning and in the middle, so we're not losing those people
Yeah,
that's
the
watching
attention
on their
span, and
phones.
nobody has the attention span to watch like a 1970s movie. If you go watch a movie from the '70s, the pacing, unless it's kind of like a bombastic movie, the pacing is very slow.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's Easter
Can't be
eggs and
that
there's
way
things
anymore.
where you have to go back and look
Yeah,
at it and watch it again because it's not designed to just hit you over the head. But
yeah,
today, like somebody was on their cell phone, they're on their iPad, they're on their PS5, they're on their Xbox while they're watching a movie. So
right.
they're not really getting it, right? They only get it if something's like bombastic.
Yeah. It's the way it is. But I that's what I love about independent film, because it's not in the confounds of studio
Telling you what to do.
formulas. And I'm in the interview, sweetheart. It's over there. I apologize.
That's fine.
Honey, I'm talking to someone. Sorry, you're right. But anyway, yeah, it's like that's the best part of independent film, is that you're telling the story in the way that you want to tell it.
Yeah, you're not having a studio telling you like
Yeah,
you have to do this many. Like you got to do like sometimes the films are they're actually pushing like
right.
product placement. I mean, they're telling you what you can do and what you can't do. Like if you have a plot and it's too
I can't
complicated, they're
imagine.
telling you can't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, just like that. I mean, when I watched that film, actually, it was funny. I didn't read that article until after I watched the film. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, they're doing that kind of early. I noticed that there was a lot of action that normally would have been more for the ending.
Yeah, they
And
push
and then when I read that article, I'm like, I knew it. I felt that. So that has been something that Netflix is doing now. But see, I'm beginning a OTT platform for independent films,
so you can
and
get so people can have the indie films. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm going to do it very unique, and I'm just getting so excited about it, because the festival gets so many great films that will most likely never be seen, and from all around the world, that is just really good stories.
Oh, so
And
you want to have a platform on the internet to be able to push those films?
yeah, what was that?
You want to be able to put those the films that win
Yeah,
the
that's why I'm
festival.
going to put them on. Yeah, I'm going back from people that submitted in the past festivals, and that's how I'm building the catalog.
Yeah, so yeah,
So
like analog. I think there's a real want, for among young people where they look at what's going on today and they're going backwards. They're going back and
yeah,
finding like old music. They're
yeah,
going looking at vinyl. They're looking at 8 tracks. They're
yeah.
looking at older
Eight
films.
tracks.
Yeah, I mean, there are kids who are. I ran into some kids and
I
they
know
were like,
I haven't seen an 8 track for so long.
they're collecting 8 track recorders because they're finding these albums. They're on 8 track
Yeah, I
recorders.
have never seen any.
Yeah,
They weren't very
had one.
lasting.
My dad had one. I inherited it, but
They
but
they're, they didn't seem to last as well as them and the
no, the cassette
cassettes.
they would break. I mean, they're
Yeah,
very hard to deal with because they would get stuck,
yeah,
and so
and
there's
they get
people who
ate
are
up.
looking for the
Yeah,
ones that didn't break. It's like it's a niche thing. There are people looking
yeah.
at reel to
Oh yeah,
reels.
I would love to see. It would be great to see one of those. I had a little carry one, and I loved my 8 tracks. But
Yeah, I had a
you're
little
so
toy one
big.
as a kid. They gave me a toy one that had like children's stuff in it, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, my dad had one with the Stevie Wonder albums. They had all these Motown
Oh
albums.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like he took real good care, but he even had a kit to fix it if it got stuck. He was so
Oh
into it.
yeah.
And he
Yeah.
had these kits, and it would show you how to fix it and pull it out.
That's
He was really
great.
into.
That's great.
But like yeah, the film festival that you're doing, is the Luna Lumen Film
Luda
Fest.
Lumen Film Festival, and
Yeah.
I started in 2021, founded it, and there's nothing more rewarding than um, putting your energy into helping other people that has your same passion, and
Hmm.
it is so rewarding. I love the festival, and each year it just keeps evolving and growing, and now I'm finding this year things are coming full circle, and that's why I knew it's just literally I got up and I'm like, I got to do an OTT platform. I actually come up with the name to a couple of years ago, but I just wasn't ready for it because I didn't really, I have developed, I can do web development, and I've been very much a big part of the back end of things. And so in the beginning, when I started in the industry of web development and portals and building back end things for films and books and things like that. So when I thought about doing the festival, I kind of it reeled in my mind, and I just set out and started creating it and started it in 2021. It just keeps evolving. And then just in the last month, it's ready. It's Filmaflix is going to be the name of the OTT platform. So I feel like it's connecting. So it is they are affiliated, but you don't have to be in the festival to be on the OTT platform. But definitely anyone that's ready to get their film out there can submit, and I may go to them if I see a film that I feel is great for it. But very early, like the ones that's submitting this year, probably is not ready to be there yet. So that's why I'm going to the past festivals that I've had and contacting the filmmakers from 21 that I really liked, that I would like on the platform, because I will remember them. When I see a film that I really liked, I'll remember them. So I go back into my databases and I'm like, okay, this one here I can see on the platform, and it just is super exciting. I could do it all day long. I literally will start editing a film, and I'll start at 7 a.m. and it's 6, and I got a bag of chips and I'm still editing. It is just I don't even realize how long I've been there doing it. When I get all my, footage and everything that I'm going to be working on, and sometimes I do my short films. Sometimes I just do them in bits and pieces. I'll go get some footage and then I'll put it in and work in some music, maybe that's another thing that will happen. I wrote a song 2 years ago that I didn't even realize, and then all of a sudden in my editing, I'm like, wait a minute, I have a song I can put, and then I go and pull that music. So
yeah, it's good to keep a archive of all the things you work on, and then sometimes you're like, oh, this fits with this project. Maybe it didn't fit with this project back when I was working on it, but now it fits today.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Everything is in them.
Well, that's
I carry it everywhere.
Well, the film tool, there's so many people can create films with these, modern smartphones. That a lot of the content that you've in your film festival, is it coming from people who are using?
Most people are using cinema cameras, but you can do certain shots that it's 4K. My this one here is 4K, and it's an older Apple, but there are some shots that if it's hard angles and things like that, you can
still got to use the better professional camera then.
But your cinema cameras with your different lenses, are good, but you can easily, especially with the newer iPhones with the 3 lenses. I mean, you can do some great work with that. And then when you get it into the editing, I mean,
the modern editing tools allow you to do.
I love software. I mean, I'm a huge software guru. So I have so many different things I use for certain things that I want to do and achieve. And I have my own, kind of my own system that
you set up.
Yeah, it's kind of rewarding to figure out how to do some things your own way rather than doing it your own Adobe and you can do this, but I can get that same look by some other ways.
So
very creative
tools. I think it's interesting to take like whatever tools you have. Like as a musician, like I'm
Yeah.
a synthesis, so I have like Moogs, and
Yeah.
I've got like Rolands, and I've got all these. I got a lot of different sonic tools
Oh, I'm
from a
sure you
regular
do.
piano, and I got
Yeah.
all kinds of recording equipment. And you can run things through pedals, you run through things, effect processors,
Yeah.
you run things through all these different things. You can turn something, you change the color of the sound.
Yeah.
Because I think filmmakers, you guys change the angles, change the colors,
Oh, yeah.
change like the lighting. There's all this stuff. It's the same thing like in music. You can change the color of the sound with filters and EQs and
Absolutely.
all
I
kinds of
love
processors.
filters. Yeah. Yeah,
And
there's the majority of those kind of things, you can have your gels and your things physically on the set, but it's never going you're going to bring it into your software and do things that it's much easier just to do it in the software.
yeah,
You know, of course, there are techniques that you want to do on the set that that's going to be you more unique than if you did it in the software. So I mean, there's a balance
there's a
there.
balance to like what you want to do with like
Yeah,
physical lighting and
yeah.
and
Oh
and
yeah,
like
because there's some things just can't be brought into the software, lighting especially.
mhm,
I'm really good at, I'm very good with lighting, and I know what I want when I have
mhm,
it. So,
yeah,
there's a certain it's about any, I mean, that's just even if I'm sitting in a room, I've got to have a certain light. Everybody knows that when mom comes in the room, get the ceiling lights off. I can't stand ceiling lights. It's like,
yeah. So like it's like when you're talking to people with a guitar, right? And like how they want to record it. A lot of times you'll mic your amps. Like
uh-huh.
people will mic the amp. Even electric guitar
Oh
players will mic
yeah.
amps
Oh yeah,
because they
absolutely.
want to get a certain thing. And if you just put it directly into a DAW,
Yeah.
like it doesn't do what it does if you
Uh-uh.
actually catch it in the air. So
Yeah.
there's drummers will they mic their
It's
drums because
different.
it's a
Yeah.
totally different thing. So there's still like an art of like, oh, you can't do everything digitally. You still need to
No,
get that analog physical drum kit mic'd to get those sounds right,
absolutely.
to get those guitars right. A lot of acoustic instruments like violins and guitars and pianos are percussive. It's
Or
better
like,
to actually
isn't
mic
it
the piano.
great? Isn't it great sometimes to hear the pedal? I have a song that the piano was being recorded where you could hear the pedal.
Yeah. Well,
You could
sometimes you
hear
want that. Sometimes like
I
sometimes
wanted it. I wanted
some
it.
people don't
Yeah.
want it. They want to EQ it out, but there's a lot of times when you play an acoustic guitar, sometimes you want to hear like your jacket slapping against the guitar. I mean, there's a famous
Absolutely.
Dylan like when he did
I love hearing the strings and the finger and the ridges.
yeah,
That
touch
I that
slide when you're sliding on an acoustic and people
Yeah,
hear that slide, or there's a famous
I
version
love
of like
slide anyway. Yeah.
Tangled Up in Blue. And I was talking to the recording engineer who recorded it, and Dylan's like jacket was hitting the guitar, and it was being picked up on the mic, but there was something about the rhythm of it,
Did
and
it
it
work?
actually was released as a like a outtake, and people actually preferred that to the version to the studio version
I
because it
am
had this character to it that the other version didn't have.
I get that. I'm the same way. You know what? Those imperfections sometimes do work. I had one time I was recording and I had this bird that started flapping his wings, and it was on the recording, and then I kept it because it was perfect in an area where I was singing something, and then I added a little echo to it, and
Yeah.
it was very instrumental, and I'm like, and to this day, the bird passed away, and I was really really upset about it, and later I had already recorded that song, obviously, and I hadn't heard the song in a while. And then hearing those those swings, and I was just like, that is just super. And it just dawned on me that's something I always have special about that bird. But that it, and there again, it was that collective thing we're talking about, where while you're creating these things that happen, it was almost like that sound was just meant to be there. If I redid that song without that sound,
Yeah,
it's
you lose
removing
something.
something.
But
Yeah.
that's why I always try to tell people sometimes, like the happy accidents, like people today want to EQ, they want to make such clean recordings.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm always like, sometimes you don't need like if somebody will come to me and they recorded something, it wasn't like a crazy mic. It wasn't some $10,000, $20,000 mic. Right. You know, you get in these recording studios, they have really high end mics. And this guy recorded something that wasn't on the great, it wasn't a great mic. But
Oh, okay.
the way he sang it,
It was good.
it was better than what he did on the good mic. So
Isn't
then,
that
like,
funny?
sometimes you make a choice as like an engineer or producer. It's like this is so much better, and you're not able to match it. So this vibe, even though it's not perfect, it's perfect for this song.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use this.
Yeah, I
And there's
get
some people
that.
today that are like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do that," but it used to be done all the time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that
Yeah.
used to happen
And
all the
stuff
time.
like that was done a lot. I very much believe that's where independent film too, your improv and allowing people to go more by their natural, like when I'm doing a film and I'm directing it and I have something I want them to say, but I always will say, okay, you can go off the script. Don't, when I'm writing the script, it's like, I don't, that's the idea of it. I really
Mhm.
want that person to say it how they would say it.
Yeah,
Not,
how they
not,
yeah.
yeah,
Let the
because
actor have some room to
yeah,
act.
yeah. I mean, I want to, when I make a film, I always want people to feel like they're spying on somebody and they're actually seeing something that's really happening, that they even shouldn't be in that room. You know what I mean? Because they're seeing something that's very personal and private about someone's conversation or something. So to me, that's what, I mean, there are a lot of great actors, but I see most movies, I still know they're acting.
Yeah.
I, you know, yeah, I mean, unless you're talking about independent films,
Yeah.
that is where studio formula films, and I'm not going to say that to everyone. There's some extraordinary one studio films that you didn't feel that way, but the majority, and they're doing good acting. I'm not saying they're not acting good or anything, but it's still not true to it. It's all still too structured.
Yeah, well, it's too much. It's all kind of contrived compared. Like an independent film is able to talk about subjects that are not
Yeah,
in, blockbuster subjects,
yeah,
right? But they're
exactly.
important. And so when I love watching foreign films, I might watch a lot of stuff, from
Oh yeah, foreign films are
E
great.
a lot of stuff from the EU, like French and Spanish and
Yes, I love
German
sci-fi.
films. I watch a lot of Japanese and like Chinese and stuff from Taiwan.
Oh
And
yeah,
there's a lot of cool things that like outside of our culture, there's different things going on. So if you get these different perspectives, like there's a different focus. And I'd like to see like, well, how is a relationship handled like in Japan in a drama, like a small independent film in Japan, and it's different. It's a different perspective. It's a culturally different things going on, and so
yeah,
I like to see when people come with a different perspective. And usually, like an independent filmmaker, even in the States, is not going to do what is going to be like the popcorn film. They're
yeah,
going to do something else. They're going to do something
right. Oh
that
yeah, everybody's, you're not in those constraints. You're literally telling the story the way you want to tell it, and you got nobody saying, that you can't do that. You're doing whatever you want to do, and that is your vision. That is your art. It loses its art. You know, when you have to change because the studios or the distributors saying, okay, well, we need this because it's got to have this formula. You need to have action here and pull it. Then you're completely redoing everything, and it's going to lose.
It loses like the impact of what, like if you have a story and you need to tell it and it needs to open up, and then suddenly they say, well, take this thing that happened in Act 12 at the end
Yeah.
and put it to the front. I said, well, that wrecks the whole story.
Well, I mean, when I heard Matt Damon say that, I remember thinking, wow, they had to restructure they had to, completely restructure the action and make it liquid through the film. So that was completely.
Yeah, you can see that it might the pacing, if the original script probably had a pacing where that stuff did not happen as dynamically as it did.
Right.
Because they assumed the audience would fall asleep.
Yeah, but so and the thing about it is, and I'm, because I'm also involved in the back end of the industry, I know statistics and things like that. And I'm like, Netflix, there is 30% of mobile watchers. How about the 70% that has their big screen, the whole side of their wall, a big screen that's fully prepared to watch that action film in the way they wanted to see it?
Yeah,
that's the majority of their viewers. And they were,
and they're going for the 30. Why are they going for the 30 instead of 70?
And not losing the mobile viewers. There was a time there for a year. I was in my camper a lot. I was living in this bougie camper, by the way. It's all bougieed out, so it wasn't in any way. But I didn't have a big TV, and I was having to watch it on the phone. And you know what? It wasn't bad at all. If I'm really into a film, I only watch films that I like anyway. So I don't lose interest because I'm on a small device. You know what I'm saying? If I'm really watching, I get it propped up perfectly where it needs to be and watching it, but I'm not real particular about how I watch a film. I love movies so much that I'll watch it on any kind of screen.
Yeah.
But I did that for almost a year. I always tell people I roughed it, but really I didn't, because I was in a very bougie. I'm kind of retro and had it decorated up super sweet, and was on a beautiful ranch. Mm-hmm. And a lot of nature and wild around me, and boy, did that inspire a lot of art. That was primarily the reason of being there. And I did a lot of writing there. Mm-hmm. A lot. I loved it.
That's interesting, because a lot of times you have to writers, like, a lot of artists they need the kind of the space to write. And, some writers, they can just be in a little apartment in New York and just do that. Or some people need to actually be like Jack Kerouac, and we could be on the road and experience life and kind of be like world traveling, and then take all those experiences and put it into the book. It's like it's like whatever serves the work.
Yeah, I wrote music. Yeah, I was going to say, I think most writers that write novels, really, you don't need anything. And I wrote music there, and I have my own little recording equipment that's very, you can just put all fits into a little bag. Mm-hmm. Everything I have, all my film equipment, all of it. I was toting it. It's for most of my stuff's very portable, but mm-hmm. I think that being in nature always inspires art.
Yeah, I think, like, I live in New Hampshire, so I love going out in the pines, walking the trails. I like to mountain bike. And when I'm in the woods, I'll get ideas. I'm a musician, but I'll be like in the woods and something happens in nature, and then I'll be like, oh, I can use that as an idea on my piano. I can come back and I can take that experience as what I felt, and I'll put it into something, a phrase on my piano. But it's just like that going out there is it's
And
you know
nature sounds. Do you ever record some nature sounds and put them into your
oh
recording?
yeah, field. I have a thing that can do field recordings, kind of like Yes, used to the progressive rock band Yes. One of their
Oh
albums,
yeah.
Close to the Edge. They actually like taped a forest. They it's at the beginning of Close to the Edge. You can hear all these sounds from the forest, and that was actually a field recording. I've actually gone out to the Merrimack River and field recorded like the sound of the river
Oh
and
yeah, that's
put it into
nice.
some of my stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. Just like anything in the woods, if you pick up on a nice mic, there's a
Yeah.
lot of cool stuff that you can use. And
Oh yeah.
I just let it, it's like whatever's happening, I just get it, and then I said, well, I'm going to use whatever happened.
Yeah, it is. I know. I was writing one time, and I was in a cabin where there was tin roof, and it started raining, and that was it was a meditation song too, so it worked.
Yeah, that can work. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really worked. And to this day, when I go back and listen to that, it is so relaxing. There's nothing like hearing rain fall on a tin roof.
Yeah, well, rain, anything with water. Like I love
Uh,
getting like creeks, like a river or a creek, or just like sounds from a lake when people
oh
are in the
yeah.
lake and there's stuff going on around the lake, and just picking up the ambience of it.
Oh yeah.
Um, there's a lot of
Yeah,
cool stuff that you
water
just pick
is
up.
so soothing. Yeah, it's very soothing. But yeah, I guess, the whole idea of art is that it's spontaneous. I
Yeah,
think most
that's
things
important.
you can't really plan art. Anybody that
I think
doesn't,
if you overplan art, it becomes like too contrived, and
yeah,
that's what we get with a lot of popular work today. Is it's very contrived. It's kind of designed like a widget.
yeah,
It's kind of like junk food, and maybe you like it because like you like to get that same thing all the time. But if you really want something that
yeah,
satisfies your soul, it's gonna be like from that food truck or from that restaurant that's not a part of a big conglomerate. It's like if you really want a good piece of music, you're gonna listen to that piece of music that's not just the catchy song, but the song
exactly.
that pulled like your heartstrings,
Yes.
which is not necessarily the catchy song.
No. No. Yeah, it's any kind of art. Yeah, when you try to control it, make it perfect, and remove imperfections or change things that to make it formalized, it's just not going to lose. And they do still create studio films. There's a lot of beautiful films done in Hollywood, so it's not taking away from the beautiful films that are made there. But I prefer I always say, no matter how much money or have for a budget of a film, I don't care if I have a known actor in my film. I don't, and I prefer not. Um, I don't want, if I'm writing a script, I wouldn't just want to find the person that's right for it that's famous. I would want to find the person who's right for it, period.
Yeah, right for the
But,
piece. Yeah, because
yeah,
that's you don't. Because the thing is, like sometimes the actors they bring that whole like vibe around them.
yeah,
And sometimes you'll see like in films, like they don't pick the obvious choice, they pick some unknown
yeah,
because they don't want that vibe, right? Because they
right.
know if I pick like like the top A level lister, well,
Yeah,
that's coming with all this baggage. And if you wanted the person who's directing and the people who write it's like, I don't want that baggage. I want like a
right.
clear canvas.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, they can be a good actor because of their experience level, but I have worked with actors that's acted very little and that have just done such a good job that I couldn't imagine anyone coming in and doing better.
Yeah.
It's all about the passion that the person is feeling. The film that I did called Chestnut Tree, it was a short film, and it was my own script of Anne Frank and how her and Peter Van Pels, how they had, it is basically, I was inspired when I was reading her book about that friendship. And I had imagined, I thought, at that age, being in this building, hiding away, they still very much tried to pretend that wasn't going on, and tried to live in those compounds. So I imagined things in my script that I feel like could have happened because of the kind of person she was. She was a deep thinker. And so then I found these two actors that were just so perfect, and they had so much passion for it. And to this day, and that was back in 21 that I did that, 2021. And to this day, when I see that film, I mean, they look like they've acted for years. People, like, everybody has said, wow, they're phenomenal in that. And it was their passion.
Well, that's what you want. I think passion, is the main thing in the arts, because sometimes if people become dispassionate, and it becomes like rote, and it becomes like too common. And the people get typecast. They're doing the same thing.
I always say, take me. I prefer watching a movie that there's unknown actors. I prefer, and it's nothing against I love a lot. I have actors that I really enjoy watching, so I'm not saying anything bad about them. But I just don't need it. I don't need it for a film.
Well, I think sometimes we've been kind of trained to go for the blockbuster with the known quantities.
Yeah.
And it's really when you start, like I started, like, I don't know, was in college, I started looking at a lot of independent films because like I got bored of what was going on. And I was in college anyway, and I was kind of pushing myself to learn, have critical thinking and look at different things.
Right.
And so then I said, well, why should I just look at whatever they're giving me? Right? Why don't I go seek out other things and those off the beaten path?
Yeah.
And to do it with the same thing with music. I've always interviewed bands that are like, they're emerging artists.
Yeah.
Who aren't really well known. They're coming from the underground or just coming up.
Best. Yeah.
Because they have all the new ideas.
Yeah.
And I'd rather hear somebody I never heard before. And I love all the old stuff. I know like a lot of music history, but I want to see somebody else do something.
Oh, yeah, there's so much talent. That is what I say. There's a small, like Hollywood or your top 100 artists, singing artists or whatever, is such a small little community when we have a world full of
tons more. There's so many more
talent.
There's so many films that you
are only tapping into a smidgen fraction. I'm sorry, I see films through the festival that I'm like, that is very satisfying for me. If I never saw another Hollywood film, I'd be fine, And when I'm looking at what I want to put on the platform, I'm finding these films, I know I'm going to have some really unique films that other platforms don't have. And because I'm very different in what I look for, and I know that it's going to be very niche. So my OTT platform is going to be a niche platform. It's not going to be the typical, even in independent films. But you was talking about Japan, and there's a film I want. I haven't heard back. I haven't actually reached out to them yet, and I actually had forgotten about the film. And when I was going through 2021 festival, and it is phenomenal. It's a kind of a horror.
Yeah, they have these interesting horror movies in Japan. I lived in Tokyo for 2 years, and I got into different, different type of thing. They have this like really interesting horror, that's different than American horror.
Oh yeah, this one here, man.
It's
It,
very
it
different.
and I thought, you know what? And it's the culture too. So, he's coming into it just and I watched that today and I thought, I want that on the platform. I
Yes,
hope he's
cool.
gonna let me put
Yeah, it sounds like you're gonna have a really interesting platform, and I think people are looking for, they're starved for, they want to get
Yeah,
out
they
of.
are. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna bring some stuff to the platform and I get as a filmmaker. A
Mhm.
lot of people might think, or I think other filmmaker or artists, you'll probably get this, will understand what I'm saying is it is just as gratifying for me to find these filmmakers and put together with my know-how because I'm an artist and I'm also very business administrative as well. I know how to
Mhm.
do back end, I can develop, I do all these things. So I have all of these other abilities. It is just as rewarding to me when I'm doing my own film, putting this OTT platform together
Yeah,
and
I
finding
think it's
people.
super.
Oh,
That's why I do the podcast, because like
yeah,
I like to have a platform for
yeah,
creative people, and I spend a lot. I was spending a
it's the
bunch of time
same
today.
thing.
I
Yeah,
was writing a song, but then I spend time like like some artists like, well, I gotta stay in my creative thing. I can't do other stuff. But
yeah,
I always like to pay it forward
yes,
and push other people and not
right,
just push my own thing. And I think it's
right.
really cool when you can push, when you can actually, help elevate other people's art, because they're like, to me, it's like it just helps the whole community when you have more voices, more points of view, more pieces of art
Yes.
to to be
It's
able to
the
see.
purpose, I think. I think that part of why you have that passion is that because it is very collective. Art feeds art. At the end of the day, a song I wrote probably was fed to me from, I was inspired from something that
Yeah,
came from art.
yeah.
Art feeds art.
Each other, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
everything you get, like you're saying, your multimedia, because it all
yeah,
interwoven. Everything kind of feeds into it. I could be reading a book, I
right,
could read a poem, I could hear something like a song on the radio, I could see a clip on TV, and then
right.
somehow all those things synthesized, and I come up with something new. And that's just the way the nature of art. You go
Yeah,
to an art museum, you see something, it's like, whoa, I get inspired by that, and then you want to go,
yeah,
and then you don't maybe write a painting, but you write a song, or you write
yeah,
a script, or you write a book,
right,
or you write a short story.
right.
That's how it's just all circular. You just keep
Yes,
on
it
getting
is. It
inspired.
evolves and yeah, it's very yeah, I just am very grateful of having, I think that there's nothing like that kind of happiness. That's when you know that you're doing, like you asked in the very beginning, why do you do what you do? It's almost like it's not even a choice. It's just
Yeah, well,
I
most
do
artists
it.
I've talked
You
to,
know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
like it's almost like yeah, it's like you don't, people are like, well, you always did sing. My kids grew up always seeing me do my art. They always, no matter what else I was doing, I was always getting my recording equipment. I was always singing. I was always writing. I was always doing something. They grew up seeing that.
mhm,
Um, and they all have their own passions of what they and have the artistic abilities as well. So I tell people, I'm like, I just there was not a choice. That's just what I did. I mean, I had to do it. It was like it was inside me. I had to get it out somehow. You
yeah,
know, it's not a choice to some degree. I mean,
yeah,
when I hear that some people shut that off,
yeah.
I
That's a
don't.
hard thing for, yeah, I think what I've always experienced is, the artist I've talked to, and we'll probably close out right now
Okay.
because we're hitting a moment, of like we've hit
Yeah.
our hour, but,
Yeah.
people feel like everybody that I've talked to over the last like 6-7 years doing this felt like the artists I've talked to, most of them are doing it because they love it, and they actually feel a need. It's like breathing. It's like they have to do it, and it's cool if it works and they make money, and but they were going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Almost everybody I talked to said they were going to do it whether they make money or not.
Yeah, you don't do. Yeah, I mean the term starving artist is for a reason, Say you don't really become an artist to make money. You don't sing, you don't write, you're not a filmmaker, you're not doing that because you think, oh, I'm going to make the money. That's not even the thought.
I'd be on Wall Street if I want to make money.
Yeah. It comes along. If it comes along, all the better. But that's not the goal. That's not the goal. That's not the purpose. But, yeah, I don't know how, I have friends that are just like sometimes amazed by all the things that I do. And I'm like, it's not,
It's not hard. That's what they don't, I mean, we don't find it hard to do the work we're doing. We feel like we have to do it. And it might look hard to other people because they can't imagine being in the artist, in that artist place. Because a lot of people have kind of give themselves like a ceiling, or they don't give themselves a permission structure. So they can't even entertain ever doing it. But we gave ourselves at some point in our lives a permission structure to do it.
I'm people are like, you're so confident. You're just, it's just like, well, I mean,
why not?
Maybe I shouldn't be, but I am.
Like every artist is like to get on stage, to go and put that stroke on the painting. You have to have a certain level of confidence. And if you're the kind of person that you can't get past, like, I don't know if I should do it, then you're never going to do it. Right. Like the artist was like, I'm going to do it. And it's going to happen. It's like, I'm going to learn, I'm going to make mistakes. But the process excites you and you want to do it. And it doesn't,
it doesn't
freak you out to the point where like, I'm going to retract for the world.
You don't pull. No matter who I'd be around, no matter the level of artistry or the fame, if it's a famous artist that has excelled and has Grammys or awards, I have no fear factor there. I can walk right up to them and talk to them just like they're like me. And if Adele would be like, sing a song with me, but honey, I'll sing with you. I would not feel intimidated by that. And I mean, if you're not intimidated by, and I'm not even close to singing like her, but I have a lot of heart when I sing, and a lot of people, that would be like a phenomenal thing to do. I wouldn't be intimidated by that in any shape or form. And I'm glad that I think it has a lot to do with just being secure and knowing what you like and want to do, and your upbringing too. My mom was always give me that boost. You could always do what you want, that kind of attitude as well. So, nurturing has a lot to do with it, but also just if you really know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, I want to let people know that we have the QR code for your lumenfilmfest.com. People can take their phone and scan that, and they'll be able to jump right to that. They can click on that, and they'll get to your filmfest.com. And we do also have your Instagram up, and people will be able to click through that. We've been live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick, and those links will be clickable. But thank you for being here tonight.
Yes, thank you. It was a really great conversation. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. And we're going to promote this on Instagram. We'll do some clips with our AI tools, and we use some landing pages that we attach to the story and to the reel. We push them on YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels as well. So we'll do some highlight reels and get people to check out the landing page. We'll have all the different platforms. We'll be on Spotify, Video Podcast, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon by the end of the day tomorrow. So we'll get all that to you. and it'll get pushed out through all the other podcast platforms that we're on. We're on a bunch of channels. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate it, your professionalism, and I really love what you got going here. Thank you so much. It was very nice.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.